People of the Posse, it is with a heavy heart that I have to report that the sun has set on Season 3 of Posse Wrestling, but it is with a light heart that I can confirm that Season 4 is on the horizon. And so, once again, I, the Shady Champ, CEO of Shady News, takes to the desk to help you catch up on the madness that took place this March in Posse Slam 15, March Madness. Not only that, but with this video completed, that means we now have a recap of this season in its entirety, so if you ever want to look back on the phenomenal moments of this wrestling program, now you can. So without further ado, let's get into the last bits of beef and title matches before this season came to a close. After a word from our sponsors, of course.
I'm doing the shit, mama. I'm doing the shit big. I just caught the new fire. A little over $250,000. He called me like 2-6. I eat with the 5 stars. That perk got a nigga high. Right now I'm a fly star. You can get power with the 12 game.
As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and tune into their Twitch at 8:30 Central Time so you never have to miss a stream. And if you interact with them on social media or in chat, then you'll be able to have success in finding a community. But speaking of success, let's turn to people who haven't really gotten that this Season 3. MP was formerly a tag team champion and member of the Super PAC, but when the Super PAC reformed on Blitz, he was left out to dry and be musty on Warzone. El Oso was set up to be a promising young rookie for Season 3, but it's as if he hid in a closet after Posse Slam 11. And Eli Yamamoto did not get the rookie magic of coming out with a strong debut, having lost every match he had been in. Wrestlers like these were not going to last long in an elimination tag against a unit like the Freak Bulls, consisting of Crusher and Uncle Scuba, with Leroy Jenkins, the Freak Bull of Blitz, making a guest appearance to even the numbers up in the Freak Bulls' favor. It seemed to go as expected as Leroy pinned MP, making Leroy the stankiest there is. But immediately after, Eli Yamamoto knocked out Uncle Scuba, evening up the score. Then, El Oso knocked out Leroy Jenkins, and suddenly the favorites to win were in the midst of an upset as Cuz had to face Eli and Oso 1-on-2, but not for long as El Oso finished the job on Cuz. Not only does this serve as Eli Yamamoto's first victory, but it also helps put El Oso back on the map for everyone that doubted him. Just when you think nothing will surprise you in PPW. While K-Rich was unable to take the Intercontinental Championship from the Mike is Right, still Sean had better success in Love and War, and now the underdog of Cerberus finds himself up against his faction brother to prove to the PPW universe that he was not a pup, but a strong contender in his own right. But after tasting single success, still Sean wasn't going to make this easy for K-Rich, calling for a Hell in a Cell match so that both wrestlers could leave it all on the line. As a result, we got 40 minutes of straight brutality, the likes of which were never before seen, as K-Rich put Sean in devastating submission after devastating submission on top of the cage, none of which counted because they weren't in the ring. And as for Sean's part, he caused K-Rich to fall off the cage not 1, not 2, but 3 times, with K-Rich climbing back up the cage for more each time. Just when it seemed that the fighters had no more moxie left to give, Steel Sean finally put K-Rich through the cage and into the ring where, with the last of his strength, Sean pinned K-Rich for the 3 count, retaining his championship. Is the Bunny the Rookie of the Year? This has been the question to answer, as though the Bunny's debut hit the highest of highs a wrestler in PPW can hit. After beating Delanye West, the Bunny would soon face the lowest of lows, running into a surprisingly rough slump that, to some, overshadowed his success. The detractors of the Bunny offer up young Clay to be Rookie of the Year instead, which is fair as Clay had been racking up wins in the background, having the highest win percentage of all the Season 3 rookies, culminating in Clay finally taking the Blitz United States belt from Leroy Jenkins in Love and War. So, when the Bunny received the opportunity to fight Clay for the title, fans of PPW could finally see which wrestler really deserves the Rookie of the Year title. It was a battle of high kicks and even higher flying, but what was initially a back and forth became a relentless assault as the Bunny got his groove back and wanted to be champion again. And after a vicious sequence of high-flying maneuvers, with Clay helpless to counterattack, a champion the Bunny finally became. Regardless of if you like her or not, regardless of who's in her way, Ronda Rousey is the Blitz Women and Them's champion. She's overcome rising stars and veterans alike, and though she may lose an exhibition match here and there, she always rises to the occasion when it counts in the championship matches. But this particular match served to test Ronda more than any other, as she found herself in a 5-way elimination match against Yaba, Asuka, Rain, and Amani Stars, the latter two coming from Warzone to escape a fight with Hunter Brooke. Very rarely does a champion get to retain with odds like these, with each competitor hungry for success. Imani was the first to fall, and it seemed that Rain was going to make Ronda follow, but Asuka rescued her before getting pinned by Yaba herself. This allowed for Ronda to get vengeance on Rain by making her tap out, leaving Yaba versus Ronda Rousey, a rivalry months in the making. But once again, Ronda showed Jess the difference between a champion versus a contender, as she submitted Jess for the last time this season, cementing the dominance of WWE plants. And just like how losing didn't agree with Ronda Rousey, retirement didn't agree with Hunter Brooke. For after months of retirement, Brooke decided to get back in the game to fight Witch Noah, who finally became champion after defeating Rain on Love and War. What followed was a ferocious assault by Witch Noah, desperate to keep what she had waited so long to earn, but Hunter Brooke's win was inevitable, making a statement by hitting Noah with a finisher, doing a dirty pin to intentionally get caught by the referee, and then doing that same finisher again to win the match, to serve as a warning to the locker room watching that the old champion has returned to stay. The Super PAC, consisting of Warlock Noah and Team Money Taz, were looking to become the longest reigning tag team champions of PPW, and should they defend this one last challenge, they would enter Season 4 as such. After having defeated every established tag team in PPW, they seemed in the clear no matter who they would go up against, but they could not have expected a triple threat tag team elimination match against teams that were formed 2 weeks before this Posse Slam. The teams in question? The Clean and the Dirty, consisting of Leroy, Jenkins, and Nightmare, the often forgotten member of the old faction TNT, and the Shady Truths tag team, composed of the newest members Shady Soldier Chris and Avatar of Truth Tay Nubis. Now, this triple threat match had two special caveats. One, that everyone would be fighting at once, and two, that both members would need to be pinned before that team would be eliminated, which was good news for the Shady Truth, as Tay was the first to be pinned after a lengthy back and forth between him and Nightmare. And while Chris and Noah's fight moved to involve Nightmare, Leroy pinned Cortez in the background. So at this point, the Clean and the Dirty were in the driver's seat, as Nightmare was dominating Noah while Leroy and Chris were having at it. But then Chris pinned Leroy, making the fight a 1v1v1. Chris didn't stop there, pinning Noah after letting Nightmare do all the work, and finally putting a tired Nightmare to rest with a suplex pin. Indeed, the glory that the Shady One promised Tay and Chris seemed to have finally come to fruition, as the Shady Truth would now be able to enter Season 4 as the tag team champions. In Posse Slam 14, the fight for the Blitz World Championship ended in a 3-way tie, but in Love and War, the Groovy One was able to secure the victory, putting the Groovy Generals back on the map. Jesse Bananas, tired of the Kingsmen not getting the limelight he believed they deserved, stepped up to the plate of becoming the #1 contender to expose Grant as a false prophet and set the Kingsmen as the dominant faction of Blitz to enter Season 4. The no-holds-barred competition was a back and forth with neither competitor giving an inch until the Groovy One reminded Jesse what it meant to go up against a champion. But even through the worst of Grant's attacks, Jesse refused to give up, finally finding an opening to capitalize on and pinning Grant for the 3 count, putting the Kingsmen on the throne to head into Season 4. And now for the Warzone World Championship match. Kinda. Let me explain. So, in Love and War, Posse Rumble winner T-Hole of the Righteous faced Delanye West in a match where whoever could perform the most finishers would be declared the winner. And while according to the referee and the scoreboard, T-Hole had a resounding victory, Delanye didn't quite agree with that result, keeping the belt for himself. But Virgil wasn't going to allow Delanye to take his belt and go home, so he named T-Hole the interim champion, some may say the right, champion, while Delanye still called himself the champion. Eventually the titles are going to have to be unified, but that sounds like a season 4 problem. But with T-Hole becoming champion and looking to settle beef with his former tag partner DPH, that made what was initially going to be a regular grudge match into a title match for the interim belt, with DPH having the opportunity to prove the haters wrong and show that 1, T-Hole gave up on him way too soon, and 2, he can get a championship the traditional way. Finally, we would see the long-awaited culmination of a feud between friends turned mortal enemies and guess he does have what it takes. Now, just because Delanye West had the sore loser belt doesn't mean it wasn't still recognized as a belt all the same, as Pretty Boy JG rushed over from Blitz to Warzone to challenge for it. This angered the Mike is Right, who believed he was next in line to get a title shot against Delanye, going so far as to interfere with JG's first match back in Warzone. JG retaliated with a locker room ambush, and tensions kept rising until it was announced that both fighters would have the chance to fight Delanye West in a triple threat elimination match for the title. We got to see a masterclass in fighting from some of the best wrestlers in PPW using their best moves against each other, but Delanye, eager to prove that he was the real champion, took momentum in his favor, pinning Mike with a blood on the leaves and using numerous high-flying skills to put away JG, retaining the championship and looking eager to fight DPH once again to unify the championships in Season 4. Just when you think you know where the show is going, Posse Wrestling finds a way to surprise you in new and amazing ways. It was the case in Seasons 1 through 3, and after the hiatus, it will definitely be the case for Season 4, or this ain't shady news, where the truth is often shady.